We went over the Ghost Whisperer, the Conjuring. We kind of touched upon Poltergeist and Exorcist. We didn't talk about Ghost, which is a really good movie. This is we may have to do a two-parter. Yeah, we may have to do a two-parter. And then one of my favorite movies, Defending Your Life. And obviously Ghostbusters, but there's so much shit in Ghostbusters that is like, come on, dude. There's a little bit of reality in there, but that's Hollywood at its best. But Defending Your Life.
Let me just touch on Ghost. The thing that I love about Ghostbusters, aside from it's, I think it's so funny, and Bill Murray is my spirit animal. Ghostbusters. But the thing about it is
I love him.
Economizing the idea, like, because if I'm being 100% honest about it, like there's two things that I would want to do in the spiritual realm with like paranormal jobs, we'll call them. I don't want to be a ghost hunter. I don't want to collect EVPs and hear like the demon box tell me, get out or whatever. I would love to be like Bill Pullman in Casper, like being like a therapist, like he does at the end for these ghosts to help them cross over. I'd love that. Or I would like to be a Ghostbuster and be able to like go and get the bad ones and stop them from scaring kids like I got scared when I was a kid. Because,
well, first of all, there's a reason why you're drawn to that, and there's a reason why they're drawn to you. And and yes, this is another hot topic. We don't cross them over, they cross themselves, yada yada yada.
Okay.
I get it, but a lot of the times they need help, so we do assist them. In fact, that is one of the things that I do. Spirits will come to me, and a lot of the times they'll come to me in my dreams, and some people are like, well, how do you know? That's, trust me, when it's a real spirit or it's a dream, and since I was a little kid, I've had spirits come to me, and they first come to me, they're all big and bad and angry and whatnot, but then it's me who talks to them. And I have to push through the fear because it's scary. It is. Yeah. But although I think I'm at the point where they're pissing me off now. So now I just kind of snap at them and they're like, what? And I'm like, fuck up, like, get out of my face. But it's like, or sometimes I'm like, you're dead. And that is enough for them to be like, what? And you know what I mean? But it's a matter, like, for instance, one that I will never forget, there was this, in a hotel, this lady was constantly haunting, and people were always saying, don't stay there. I lost Armin's, there he is. Did your phone time out on you?
I think my Wi-Fi cut because I'm in the downstairs. Sorry about that.
So this lady would show herself in the most scariest form ever, and I knew it was going to happen, but my grandmother was with me, and she's a spirit guide of mine who helps me. And at one point I just wanted to go to sleep, and she was bothering me, so I was just like, what the F? Okay, like, I want to go to sleep, so what can I do? And she's doing her scary bit, and I'm like, what is your problem? You know what I mean? I took the time to actually ask, what is your problem? Why are you bothering people? And it turned out that she was looking for her granddaughter. And she was so frustrated because everybody was ignoring her, that she thought that she had to be over the top in order to get a reaction out of people. And it wasn't the reaction she wanted, but it was a reaction. And so that was what she continued to do until somebody finally said, let me talk to you. What the fuck is going on here? Like, what is going on? Like, what can we do? And all I did was say, well, your granddaughter has crossed over. Let me see if I can ask her to come through. I asked, the granddaughter walked through, and all of a sudden she went from the scariest, what is it, like the Conjuring face, the Insidious face, to a older, loving lady who saw her granddaughter And she herself decided, I want to be with my granddaughter. I'm going to follow my granddaughter. And I watched them go into the light, and that was it. And it's like, they need somebody to talk to them. But like in the Ghost Whisperer, they're so misunderstood. Now, I'm not saying she wasn't a bitch, you know, she wasn't trying to scare people. She was, but she wasn't always that way, you know. And so we need people like you who want to be that therapist to spirits, to take the time to actually talk to them, because everybody wants to do the trendy, you know, love life, those who have crossed over type readings, which obviously is in need, but so many people forget that the more spirits that you're helping, the less hauntings, the more we understand them, the less scary they are. And at the end of the day, they're actually just people. They're just people. And so like, I love that you say that. And I think that's the reason why they come to you, because they know what's in your heart. Again, it may seem scary, but they know that you have that type of heart to where you would want to help them. I would just say, like, if it's too scary to see in the daytime, tell them like I did, come to me when I'm sleeping. That way I can handle you. I'm not worried. I'm not so concerned with me being scared. I can do what I need to do for you. And so that's what they, for many years now, that's how they come to me. And I can handle them that way. Like, I feel like I have more reinforcements. Not that they don't sometimes come during the day, but like majority of them will come at night. So I love that you said that.
The stuff during the day scares me way more than the stuff at night, because it's, again, you have this feeling of, it's a sense of security.
False sense of security,
You're like, oh, no, again, nothing can happen. And that's why, like, you mentioned the Insidious face, like that scene scares the shit out of me, where they're sitting at the table and he's like right like here, and he's just like, bleh. And it's like, and it's,
and guess what my son was for Halloween years ago? I was like,
of course he was.
But I always picture him looking like in a really bad way, trying to be him. So I would make a joke out of it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, bro, that's a really bad wig. But anyway, but yeah, I actually watched it again today because I wanted to brush up on it. I was like, oh shit. But sometimes it be like that. You know what I mean?
It is, because like
they will like pop up, and then the next minute you look and they're not there. And that's kind of what I tend to see when I see with my physical eyes. I don't see someone standing there. Did you just see that orb? I don't see someone standing there for like seconds. It's usually like a flick, and I look back and I'm like, what the, I can draw exactly what I saw, but the next I turn my head and they're gone. But yeah, so I don't know how long we've been doing this, but there's so many more movies that we could totally talk about. Real quick, I know you saw Defending Your Life, and that is one of my favorite movies because it gets down to what happens on the other side. And it's a question that I think a lot of people ask. And I'm not saying that this is exactly what happens, but some of the things that they talk about are true. You know, there's the life review. You know, what did you do wrong? How did you affect people? What could you have done better? Did you love yourself? Did you love others? Were you a good person? All that type of stuff. That is something that has been said. We go through when we cross over on the other side. So to me, I loved that.
I love the thing I love about the movie is like they do it in a way that's, sometimes when you wrap it in like religious dogma, it becomes, I think, something else. Like, I don't know how to describe this without being sort of like offensive, but like sometimes religion is fucking annoying. Like it's like it just is. And like I'm a Catholic and I still practice.
These are Armand's opinions and not necessarily the opinions of the show.
Yeah, like but like sometimes it's too much. Like for me, for Armand, it's too much. Like I'm like, okay, like not everything. I guess it's a similar thing to like the way that I view the you know, crossing over and stuff. It's not always wonderful. Like angels, when you see what they really look at, are scary and not something you want to look at. Like they don't all look like Thor with wings. Like they're, you know, and but with Defending Your Life, what I liked about it is it's like it took a lot of things that we probably think about or would otherwise be uncomfortable thinking about, and made it real and relatable, and but like still fun and not annoying and like nagging. Like the idea you can eat whatever you want. Yeah, you can eat whatever you want. Like it doesn't matter. Like you could the idea of it like purgatory and heaven being like a like basically a resort where you're just sort of there. It was comforting, but without the guilt that's sometimes associated with religious dogma or the obligation. Like that's probably for me it's a better word, obligation, because it's like if you believe my family, like going back to what I said earlier, like I don't have to be responsible for the winning lottery numbers for every single person in my family that's still alive, or like giving them good luck all the time, or guiding them.
Shout out to my parents who last week asked me for the winning lotto numbers, because I haven't tried that myself.
Yeah, I mean, if I knew them, I would have used them. You wouldn't need them anymore.
I would have hooked everybody up in my family if I knew that it doesn't work that way.
While life still alive.
We still have to learn lessons. Just because we're psychics and mediums doesn't mean that we have all the answers. We still have a human life to live. You know what I mean? We have one foot in and out.
It's not like magic tricks or like parlor tricks. And that's what I like about Defending Your Life, though. It's like it took the like I guess magic is the word that I want to use. It took like the magical thinking out of it and just made it like realistic to a point, but like relatable. Albert Brooks is really funny,
I love him.
Yeah,
I love him.
It's just good.
Great cast. Yes, this is going back some years, but you have to watch Defending Your Life. It's a great movie. I love the fact that the lady who's on the Tron with him or whatever, and is like asking and talking to him and says, do you have a dog or whatever? And he says, yeah, basically you asked me. And she said, well, what did I say? And he said, it's great. And she's like, well, it is. Because what I liked so much, not only is that part funny, but it's like you cross over and you don't immediately like you're perfect. You know what I mean? You still go through this learning on the other side. You still have your personality. So if your personality was that when you died, you still have your personality. And that's how, spirits come to me when I'm doing readings. They're going to come to, of course, their soul is evolved and enlightened. But in order for the person who's sitting in front of me to understand that I have their loved one, they're going to come through with their full personality. And I like that. I like that spirits will tell us, well, you know what? I was an ass in the living, but this is what I learned. I learned that you needed this from me. I didn't give that to you, and I want to come back and apologize. I should have did X, Y, Z. They go over there and they learn these things and they come back. Now, sometimes the sitter doesn't want to hear it, but if they do, they realize that there is growth, and it's not us telling the sitter what we think they want to hear. These are literally the messages that spirit is giving us, and I love that they put that in that movie.
Plus it's really you. Like the other thing is like I don't like when the idea of it being like perfect, or the person becoming like all of a sudden perfect, because for me that implies that like somebody that did awful things in their life is all of a sudden going to be absolved of it. And that, I mean, just for a level of comfort, that's sort of, I don't love that idea. Like that like, like a somebody that did something atrocious to others, like all of a sudden is just like, well, they learned their lesson. No, we'll move on. Like, and we're going to go play racquetball with them now. No, like that's not how it should be. Like it's, and it's, there's something that's, and it's not necessarily a comfort thing. It's more of it's just wrong. Like death, I mean, they call death the great equalizer, but I don't think that means that I'm not a believer in all your sins going away just because you die. I just don't. And I don't believe in hell necessarily. I think hell is how you're remembered. So if you did awful things in life, because there was a quote, it was the good that men do is often interred with their bones, but the evil that men do lives on and on and on. That's what hell is to me. It's knowing that you are gone and you can't change unless people stop talking. It's either people stop talking about you, or what you did is just brought up again and again and again, and you become a chapter in a book about the most evil people that ever lived, and that's your hell. And this idea that people go through this enlightenment when they die, I think something's lost. I'm not into that, and that's why I appreciate when they show spirits, and not everybody is benevolent. That's just how I see it, and I think that's a lot more realistic a way to view it.
And absolutely, and especially for those who are quote unquote stuck or whatever, if they were assholes in life, you know what I mean, they still maintain that, now there's some that believe, when you cross over, your soul is a soul, so your soul is always enlightened, but your human aspect is still the human part, you know what I mean, like that you are what you were, you know what I mean. The soul itself is different, and goes on and learns and reincarnates or not, whatever the case may be. But I like Defending Your Life because, first of all, this was before like the 2012 spiritual bubble, where everybody was coming out and they were reawakening. So this was way back when. And I love when I watch old movies and I hear chakra and all of these trendy things that like I didn't learn until later in my life, but they were always out there. Even watching, and we're going, on a tangent here, but like Star Wars and other things, like there's little aspects of spirituality in there that I just am so drawn to. The Force and all that stuff, like you can put all these great sci-fi words on it, but like it you're like, damn, these people must have known something, you know what I mean, like way back then. And I love Defending Your Life. I love the little brains because sometimes I feel like, especially with my own spirit guides, I can feel like you literally feel them rolling their eyes at me because like I'm asking them to yet again validate something that they told me like 10 times, and they're like, this bitch, okay, fine, you know what I mean, like I feel it. It's so, especially the human guides, like you feel that they're like, oh, this chick, and so that's so real. So I love how like they're kind of talking shit about us behind our back. This tastes much different to me than it does to you, type of thing, and it's so true. It's true, and a lot of the little things, the looking back on your past lives, and the guy saying, what the hell, because he was Mumsy, he was a girl in his past life, and he's like, what the, but that's true. Like I was a man in one of my past lives, we won't get into that, but like, it was awesome. I actually looked up the information that I was given through my own meditation. So it wasn't like someone was telling me, hey, you were this. It was something that was shown to me during meditation, and I actually looked it up and validated. So I was like, holy F. But anyway, I digress. Defending Your Life, great movie. I thought it did a lot of great things. Obviously, it simplified it for everybody. But like you said, it made it so that those who don't understand the spiritual world or whatever can get it. Without being too dramatic. It really just focused on the journey and all that. And I thought that was pretty cool. Now, whether they find love in the in-between, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I know I've had an experience, how you can do past life regression, you can do progression, you can do same life. There is also what they call the lives in between lives, and I did that, and it was why, again, I love Defending Your Life. It was so freaking similar to that. It was like whatever the place was where they were actually looking back on their life and all that. So whatever that building was, it looked so similar to that, and I saw my soul connecting to another soul. And it was like, hey, let's meet up. Let's figure out what we're going to do in the next life, here's the it was so very much like that. I thought like, wow, that's really interesting. Now whether, I don't know, but it was through hypno therapy, so I thought that that was pretty accurate. And again, some of the terminology they used was pretty spot on.
Yeah. Well, that's yeah, I love that movie. It's so well done, and it's people that are not into this type of thing at all, I know, that love it. They just, and the best part for me is a lot of them love it and they can't describe why. And I like when people run into that. I just always have. I like when people can't express why they like something, you just do, because I don't know, for me sometimes you just feel stuff, like it just resonates with you. Like,
Yes.
songs for me sometimes are like that. Like I can't describe to you why Last Christmas by Wham is one of my favorite songs ever. And I
Stop it.
and
Stop. Stop. I fucking love that song. And my
I don't
son
know why.
sung that song in school, and it made me love that song even more. There's an emotion behind it that I too can't explain. I freaking love that song.
Yeah,
I don't care. I love that
that's
damn
up
song.
there. And there's other, like there's other songs for me, like it's they just do. Like I don't know. It's Defending Your Life is one of those movies. It just does it for me.
It's funny as hell. It has a lot of spiritual references, but it's very entertaining, and I think it's such a good movie, well done movie, that those who are spiritual will get it and like it. Those who aren't will get it and like it and understand a little bit more. I think it's a movie for everybody.
I do too.
And what I loved was during the was it the 20-year anniversary or whatever, all of a sudden it became like this crazy cult classic again.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of people were watching it, and I was like, yay, new generation, because it's such a freaking good movie.
Well, it's one of those movies that people know, but they don't you never hear people talk about it, but then when you start describing it, it's one of those, they jump on it. I do too. And one of my very close friends, he's not into what we're talking about at all, but he loves that movie. And he's the one that showed it to me. Like he had it on DVD and I'd never heard of it. And this is like,
dude, I had it on VHS.
High school. Yeah, like and it was, I remember it was on like TBS or one of those, or TNT or something. And we watched it and I was like, I knew who Albert Brooks was, and obviously I knew who Meryl Streep is, but like it just worked. I don't know. It's
hello, how are you?
Yeah,
I love that movie.
But it's
ooh. Oh, I won't even get into the restaurant scene. I freaking love that movie. There's so many clips from that movie that we still use in my house, like, you know, when someone has to go to the bathroom, take a piss, you know, all that type of stuff. But it's just a funny movie. I love that movie. It's great. Again, it's simplified, but I think, you know, even like when they get on the, I don't know if it's a Tron or whatever you want to call it, and they're going into different tunnels, even that I thought was well done, because it's like, you know, you either go back and you're reincarnated, or you're, you know, you move on and you're enlightened. But even the whole like tunnel, you know, which was a reference, and I know we all say like light at the end of the tunnel, or people go through the tunnel to reach the light. But when I was doing an automatic writing session, I actually was shown that. So I believe that there actually is, and so many people have had near-death experiences, all report kind of having that tunnel that they go through, or something very similar. And that's something that I saw. I actually have 2 people in my family who had near-death experiences. Actually, one of them actually flatlined and they brought back, and they both talk about that tunnel. So even that was pretty good. But all right, quickly, we gotta get to this. This is our last one. We have to talk about the movie Ghost. We have to, because it's like one of the best movies. Yes, there's some dramatic stuff in there, but again, I think it was a really well done movie, and probably one of the most accurate movies. Again, there's going to be some Hollywood glitz in there, but so much to talk about. So let you tell me what's your take on Ghost, besides Patrick Swayze being also hot. Anyway.
Well, that sums it up. Um, it's just they treat it with respect.
Yes.
And it's done in a way that it's very emotional. It's relatable. They do a great job of showing how their lives are just completely upended, and it shows you, I think, in a very real way, what happens when you have somebody die on you, and in this case, violently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it deals with what I'm sure people who are crossing over or are lost or what have you,
Mm-hmm.
very realistically could be feeling or going through.
Mm-hmm.
And the shit they probably have to deal with, because because another thing that I with a lot of these movies, it seems like the person that's passed only deals with living people.
Mm-hmm.
But being able to see sort of the hierarchy and what goes on with other dead people, and having to deal with both ends of that shit spectrum, like being dead and not being able to connect with the people that you miss, and being dead and having to deal with the shit of the other dead people. You got the scene with the guy yelling "fuck you" at him in the subway, and that is like that scene is funny, and it's probably supposed to be, but at the same time, it's so resonant. It's like Swayze's got to he's like, I got to deal with the shit after death too, like, really, and like all he's doing is trying to he's just trying to figure shit out, and this guy is breaking his balls and making his life or afterlife shit, and he's surrounded by not even memories, like what's really going on with the person that he didn't fall out of love with her, like he's got to see her moving on, really, and then finding purpose and being able to help her and reconnect and so on, and then back to the screwing up and like making mistakes. Whoopi Goldberg's character,
that's what I was thinking the whole time.
Yeah, like
her character.
Whoopi, I think she won the Oscar for that, and she deserved it, because I do like it when they have, and other movies have done this, but I like the way Ghost did it, where they make like the charlatan legit. Like they're like, she's legit. She needs to pay her rent. You know what I mean? Like, and so they abuse, what's that?
I don't want to put anybody's information out there, but let's just say that recently there was a legit psychic in our area who just got arrested. So thank you for making us look bad. We won't put any information out here because I don't want to get sued. But basically, it's the same thing. It's like you have someone who has actual abilities, but they're using it for bad for whatever reason, whether it's to pay. I mean, in this case, this was really bad. But yeah, you see Whoopi going through this, and it's like either she was an accidental medium or she always was, and she was just doing the easier way.
She's doing what she's got to do.
She's grinding, I love that because one, whether she always had abilities and she was just like, all right, let me get as many people in here as quick as possible by saying all this whatever, or if it happened to her because she became open, because the more you think about these things, and I noticed like spouses or whatever who have psychic mediums or whatever in their family, they become more open with the experiences that they start to see, and then they start opening up. Now they may not always be full, but they start to have their own experiences. And so like I wonder, you know, is that what happened to her? So I like that I get to like think about the possibilities. Was she always a medium, or was she opened up because she was being open to the possibilities? But what I liked about it is that once the spirits are like, oh shit, she can actually hear us now, they all start coming to her, and they're like, you know, bombarding her, because sometimes that's how it feels. Like, especially like if you're doing a show and you have like, you know, a bunch of people in a room, you're gonna feel all of these spirits kind of surround you, and then you're gonna have those who want to talk over, and you have to kind of say, all right, okay, one at a time, I'll take you, whatever. And it can be very overwhelming. So I really liked that. I thought that was well done.
Well, yeah,
Um,
she was able to show like frustration too. Like again, because that's how I would react. I mean, it's how I have reacted. I'm like,
exactly.
enough of this shit. Like, get the fuck up with, like, yeah, I can hear you. That doesn't mean I want to talk to you. Like every living person that's around me, like there are people I want to fucking talk to. Like sometimes it's just being left the
Exactly.
fuck alone.
My favorite thing is like when she's talking to him and she's like talking and not like looking at the living humans, and she's having this conversation, and I'm like, God, that's so me, because sometimes I'm like, what? And I'm literally like listening, I'm talking, and I'm like, God, I know I look fucking out of my mind, but like I'm literally listening to them. They're talking to me, I'm listening, and I'm excusing myself, hold on, what are they saying? You know what I mean? So like that's
well, you're
and
trying to
then
balance shit.
and then relay that message, and then she's like, oh, movie is just phenomenal in that movie. But all of that was real to me. How they played that, and I like, you know, what you said, you know, Patrick, he had to also or Sam had to deal with even the dead, and it was, he had to try to jump the line in order to get his say, because he had something, he didn't want to talk about somebody doing their hair and it not looking good. Like he had to tell his, you know, his wife or his girl, whatever, that like somebody was coming after him, that he was murdered. And it goes back to us saying, you know, those who are kind of stuck, doesn't mean that they can't find their way, but he decided to stay because he had something he needed to do. He needed to warn her why he died, all the other things he needed to protect her. And so he stayed behind. And there are spirits who will stay behind for their loved ones for whatever reason it is, whether there's someone killed me, I need somebody to know, or whether it's you're in danger, or whether it's they're so unconsolable that I need to be with my loved ones to make sure that they're okay after my passing, you know, or it could be somebody killed me, or I was killed quickly and I don't know I'm dead, you know? Um, so I thought that was really, really good. Even the whole Penny thing, like showing the progression of his spirit, you know, learning, and you know, some spirits can just kind of go, and I can do a reading for somebody who just passed away days ago, whereas some spirits it may take months, for whatever reason, whether they're on the other side learning, or they need to figure out a better way to communicate through me, you know, or whatever. So I like that they did that. So I thought that was a really good movie. Definitely all-time great movie. Um, Now, one part I did like, but obviously Hollywood has to kind of show us in the only way that they can, is the whole, like, you know, Whoopi Goldberg and Patrick blending, if you will, and becoming one. Now, when I blend, you don't see them, but I take on their mannerisms, and it's different than doing a traditional reading and then blending. When I blend with somebody, I feel the spirit's emotion, so I know exactly what they feel for the person. I know what they went through. I know how it felt. I can feel everything as if I am them. And it's not possession at all. It's me saying, all right, let me see through your eyes. Let me feel through your hands. It's so different. And that's what they were showing. They were showing that blend. Obviously I wouldn't go and kiss somebody, but my mannerisms would start to become their loved one. So I'll say something that only their loved one would have said, or I would have moved my hand a certain way, or I would have all of a sudden start doing this. And I'm like, wait a minute, did they smoke? Yes, you know, or pushing my hair back. Oh my God, they push their hair back all the time because it was always in their face. Like, and that was that blend that they were showing. And I thought that was really pretty accurate. The only way that they can do that. So that was good.
Yeah. It was good stuff.
So. This episode, obviously, we can go on. It has gone on longer. Usually it's about an hour or so because these movies are just so good. And I wanted to have you on because you have a different take. You can give me things that other mediums just can't, because you've lived the more darker side, and that's what Hollywood is more obsessed with. And so you can tell me the accuracy of some of these movies, what they did right, what they didn't, and bring a fresh perspective. So thank you for that. We will definitely come back and do another episode where we're talking about the psychics and mediums themselves, even healers, because there's some movies out there that talk about healers, and some of that shit is hilarious, but we'll talk about that another time. So thank you again for joining me, Armand. It is always a pleasure to talk to you.
Always.
When I first met you and finally seeing someone that had spiritual experiences, I think I latched onto you. I was like, yay, there's somebody else in the real world that I can actually talk to who understands the secret that we have. So we've been friends for many years now because of that, and glad we still are.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's tough sometimes to go through this alone, and it's nice to have somebody that can understand it at a personal level. Because growing up, this sucked. I felt like that's the Sixth Sense is. I want to talk more about it next time. It's just.
Great movie.
The kid at the Donnie Wahlberg at the beginning, or you know, I am afraid when you turn off the light. Yeah, I do. Still
Hell
am.
Yeah.
Pushing 40, and I still am. Because it's not the dark you're afraid of; it's what comes with it. And it's not just the dark; it's during the day. Like, like I'm going to be home alone tomorrow, working from home, and sometimes shit happens.
Call me if you call me.
It's, my old apartment. I mean, we talked about my old apartment.
I work. Oh gosh, that's the whole other episode. Trust me, I know.
Scary.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not. Oh, it's there.
Don't make fun of me.
That's
that's one of my words.
What?
I tend to say the word absolutely too much, so
that's all right.
I'm working on that.
It's okay.
we got. We got to sign off. It was until I murdered it. No pun intended. So we got to sign off. So thank you for being with us.
No, I thank you for having me.
If you want to, absolute fucking word. If you want to book a reading with me, KimmyAngelique.com. Armand is a friend. He's not doing readings, but we'll have him on the show many more times to come because he is a wealth of knowledge. I would say, I don't want to say on the darker side, but I want to say on the more earthly side of things. And I find that so valuable. I really do. I want, our watchers to know that there's so many different sides to the spirituality and not everything is rainbows and
if you have an experience with a nuisance spirit who won't leave you alone, we should talk.
Exactly. He'll be back. So thank you, everybody, and see you again next time. Bye.